Howdy, I am Arthur Morris, Birds is Art, and after 40 years, I can teach you how to make better pictures of birds. So a couple of months ago, I got in touch with a guy, actually he called me out of the blue, Alan Goodwin. We spoke for a while, and he told me that he was the world's premier expert on in-home audio systems and has a studio or a store or showroom in Boston. So he had done a little bit of bird photography with a Canon 100 to 500 and I think an R5. And his question was, if I want to get really good, should I buy a Sony 600mm lens? So it took a lot of convincing. Finally, Alan decided to trust me, and the rest is amazing history. It all came together when he joined the fourth DeSoto IPT. We had a great time. We shared an Airbnb and we became good friends. So Alan, thank you for trusting me. Next IPT for me, there are two in San Diego. You can go to the blog and click on the IPT link. I have one opening left in Homer, 2 trips, one opening for each trip. So if you're interested in a late registration discount, shoot me an email. If you're going to get some new gear, same thing, shoot me an email. I'll teach you how to use Bedfords to get 3% back on your credit card. Next stop after San Diego will be Morro Bay. Long-billed curlews up the kazoo, and also just tons of beautiful sunrises, sunsets, and light. So anyway, Alan signed up for the IPT and joined me for an extra day, which was a Monday. So we met on Sunday night, and I stuck a card with my settings in his A1, set his camera up in about 8 seconds, and we sat there with a short lens, a 70 to 200, and I taught him focus and exposure sitting in the Airbnb just by photographing some stuff on the walls. Next morning, it was blessedly cloudy. We went out, and this is the first image that he created. So never used Sony before, never used an A1 before, never used a Super-telephoto lens on a tripod before. This video is about the images he captured in the first 3 days. Laughing gull, tripod set up close, and then we're going to do some editing, or at least some discussion. I like the feathers here, the way they're arranged with the wing down, but this has the raised foot going for it and the open bill. So boy, if I had to process one, I'd probably process this one. Forster's tern with the red feet, the whitish silver primaries, and the black eye patch. And there's a bird down here in the corner in the lower right, a laughing gull. And that's easy to use. You can make a quick mask of this water and flip it. And that's some of the stuff you can learn in the Digital Basics 3 series. All of this is on the blog. Beautiful sanderling, they never stop moving. Let's see what he's doing here. He's at a 2,000th of a second, which is what I'd recommend for birds if they're not in flight but they're moving. And this is a first winter sanderling, Caligius alba. More bathing laughing gulls. This is a molting adult. And in my system for the A1, I only use 2 autofocus methods, 2 autofocus modes. And you can learn about those in my A1 info and setup group. And that's how we taught Alan, and he was a good student, just ready to take off. And again, you see beautiful exposures to the right all the way. He was a little forgetful on day 3. This is a Dunlin feeding, very difficult. These guys are almost never stopping. And a red knot in winter plumage standing by a nice wormhole over here. And easy to clean this up with anything, but especially the new remove tool and this and this. So in Digital Basics 3, the video series, we take you through my current workflow. Wanted to do flight. Here we have a sandwich tern coming in, and I'd lose the birds on the bottom with a little crop. Get the Gulf of Mexico nice and green. Then this is a tiny in the frame image, but it sort of works. So this semi-palmated plover high stepping. Looks like a sanderling in the background. Optional to keep that. This might make a nice pano going full frame from one side to the other. Then we had a situation with a bunch of pelicans and gulls and terns on a sandbar. This one, Alan forgot to check his level, but I love this winter laughing gull here. And the next one is nice also, but he didn't give it enough room on the bottom. So I'll mark this with a 2 for a yellow, which tells me that I can use this as source material. So if I want to optimize this one, I can grab the water here, level it, and bring it into the other frame. One of the keys to learning for Alan was getting low, and we did that every day. Another takeoff, and again, this is an easy one with a crop from here, 51 million pixels with the A1. When they're sharp, they stand up to large crops. A first winter ringbill gull taken off. This one would go to a square, and this one could go either way. Same bird, probably in the same second. 9/28/17, 9/28/18. So the next second, so he was able to stay on the bird. Alan became enamored with a reddish egret, and one great thing about photomechanic, command click. See the sharpness and the tiny fish, Z to get out of that. And now Alan starts to slip a little with his exposure. If we look, we'll see he just forgot to look for zebras. So there's a few like that, but they're easily salvaged. So you might be going, well, he cut the bird off. Yeah, but we have such beautiful detail on the head and the crest, and probably here I cropped this one about here. But there's lots of alternate ways to look when you get part of the bird in the frame, alternate crops. One hunting, and easy to remove this with the patch tool. And then another one where it's fun to zoom in with the little fish. Where was I when they were catching fish? Then I was sitting right next to Alan when we had this winter black-bellied plover come right up to us. We kept 3 out of probably 100 or 200. Nice raised foot, and standing in the foam. Oh, and even the best one for last. There you go. Then he was working on a tripod with the 600, and he was such a beginner at the time. By the way, when we spoke on the phone, he told me he likes his Wimberley head, and I said, yeah, it weighs 300 pounds. And I eventually talked him into the Flex Shooter Pro, and he loved it. But he didn't know how to shoot verticals with a big lens on the tripod. So at this moment, I showed him how to loosen the tripod collar, the tripod ring, and turn the camera to vertical. And he did nicely. Here, a snow egret with a little open bill. He minimized the concrete that the bird was standing on. It was actually part of Battery Bigelow near the historic fort. And then I saw this on the back of the camera, and I said, just move the bird back in the frame a little. And so from there to there, both have nice raised crests and perfect exposures. Then we were both photographing this bird right below the fishing pier, and it was a lousy situation. I took 300 and deleted every one. Alan came up with this one. I saw that and said, oh my God. And then I optimized it, brought it to more blue, neutralized the whites, and he was a very happy man. We worked this bird for about an hour and a half, and I actually like Alan's capture better than mine. And I don't know what, probably some crop from here. I definitely want to keep as much green as possible and have the bird looking to the left. If you missed the last video, which was on image design and composition for birds in horizontal format, you definitely want to check that out. Got a lot of views and a lot of nice things said about it. Reddish egret on the open beach, on the move. Beautiful. This guy's a beginner, a friggin' beginner. Give me a break. American oyster catcher. The thing I'm proudest of Alan is making him sharp came naturally once he knew how to use the autofocus. But in addition, for the most part, he did great on the exposures, exposing all the way to the right. Oyster catcher showing us his flattened bill that he used to get into the bivalves. And just a simple shot, little bit of crop from here and here. soft, the typical Fort DeSoto background. Now here's one that I wrote about for myself, how we can be careless and cut off the bird's virtual feet. It simply would have been better with the bird's head here, but this one can be saved and it's a beautiful field guide pose. More action. Alan needs to add a 200 to 600 or the new Sony 300 2.8 or the 70 to 200 even, so he can work wider when he needs to. Beautiful. And God, I wasn't making pictures this good for the first 10 years when I began, and he made them on the first 3 days. And here's the raw file for this dancing reddish egret. And then I optimize it, bringing up the Gulf waters. And then he wanted to get a flight shot, and on the last morning, he came up with this one. I said, that's good enough. And again, image optimization. Easy to move these birds in the frame when everything is out of focus. So Alan went home a happy man. So hopefully I'll see you in San Diego, one of 2 IPTs, in Morro Bay, in Homer, or next spring I'll be doing a couple of trips to Fort DeSoto, and I may go back to Jacksonville in July. So stay in touch, subscribe to the blog. Have a great day. Love you much.